found very few outlets for my photography ambitions. Before I knew it, my friends from home had tucked their diplomas in the back of their closets, moved out, and had even started to indulge in things like craft cocktails instead of White Claws. I scraped and saved, but joining them seemed impossible on a barista photographer's income. My fate changed, however, when my grandparents moved their ground-level storefront, Carrera Locksmiths, to a converted space on the first floor of their townhouse. Granny and Poppy had bought their 4-story brownstone way back in the 1970s, when New York City was bankrupt, and you could buy real estate in their area for next to nothing. These days, the buildings around them were gloriously renovated, and the streets were filled with high-end restaurants and boutiques. But neighbors still needed basic services that were less glamorous. With a neon sign that reads, "Keys," in their front window, they'd run a well-oiled enterprise for decades. But when the cost of never-ending home repairs became too much, they decided to seek the extra income. Enter me. Taking a page from their enterprising spirits, I convinced them to turn a blind eye to zoning rules to allow me to both live and work in their original commercial space. In exchange for a small family discount on rent, I watched my grandparents' store for them when they needed an extra hand. I consider myself fortunate that my family all think they are getting a great deal in this setup. In addition to living in a city that inspires my imagination at every step, I have hung my own shingle and declared my ambition to be a portrait photographer. Yes, my savings were nearly depleted, and I still had a long way to go before Liv Spyers photography was New Yorkers' go-to place for portrait and events photography. And no, I hadn't had time to attend all the A-lister parties and fabulous clubs I'd hoped I might have by now. But, due to my studio's street-level window display, I'd booked 5 family portraits for holiday cards during September, 4 yearbook photos in October, and when this particular morning began, I had high hopes for growing my headshot business. Unlatching the deadbolt, I opened the door. As I suspected, my grandmother, with her thick black Italian hair still its original shade at 80, was waiting for me. "I made cinnamon muffins," she said, holding up a tin with a beaming smile. "You look skinny." It truly wasn't until my first childhood sleepover with Maria in my suburban New Jersey town of above-ground pools and Instagram-worthy holiday lawn decor that I realized that waking up to a family member reeling off breakfast options is unusual. But this is what we do. The occasional forfeiture of privacy in exchange for good food is a solid family tradition. "I have never looked skinny in my life," I said. "Thank you again for opening the store for us this morning," said Granny, walking right by me and buttering a muffin, which I devoured. "Poppy's moving slowly these days, and I want to get to Yonkers for a good Stu Leonard's turkey before the rush, and then to the Bronx to pick up the sausage from Arthur Avenue for my stuffing." "Take your time," I said, beginning to pack my camera bag with items for my morning shoot, including a portable tripod, light reflector, and an external flash I'd recently invested in for location jobs. "I'll be back here with time to spare." "You're an angel," Granny said, giving me a kiss and a pat on the cheek before tying the sash on her housecoat for the short walk back upstairs. "Poppy's opening that old safe we got in a couple of days ago. The owner is convinced he's inherited something special. He'll be focused, so remind him to eat." "Does anyone know what's inside?" I asked, always curious when these jobs came along. "You never know what you'll find," she said, an adventurous smile stealing over her wrinkled face. "Maybe an old baseball card worth $1 million? Or a love letter?" she answered as I gave her a hug and shut my front door behind her. 2 more muffins later, I released 14 pounds of hair from a ponytail, not really, but really, and scuttled to the shower. As the first dash of cold water from the old pipes slapped me awake, I focused on my morning's headshot session with a client who was climbing the ladder in the financial world. I'd landed the gig through oneshot.com, which I'd joined a couple of weeks earlier. It's a one-stop shop for people to find and book photographers.